Hi everyone. Therapy is an important journey, but what happens when you end up with the wrong therapist? Today, I'll share 20 red flags that scream, avoid this therapist at any cost. For each point, we'll have examples to make it crystal clear. Let's jump in. Sign number 1. They talk more than you do. Therapy is your time, not theirs. If your therapist dominates the conversation, it's a clear sign they're not doing their job. Example. Imagine this. You walk into your therapist's office ready to share how overwhelmed you feel at work. But instead of listening, the therapist launches into a story about their own stressful week, how their dog got sick, and how they dealt with it. Before you know it, your 50 minutes are gone, and you've barely said 3 sentences. Before we go further, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel named Software Classes, because your mind is a software and it can be programmed. Sign number 2. They judge or criticize you. A therapist should offer support and understanding, not criticism. Judgment has no place in therapy. Example. Picture this. You tell your therapist you made a mistake at work and they say, "That was really stupid, I would have handled that so much better." Instead of exploring why it happened, they make you feel worse. Sign number 3. They lack professional boundaries. Boundaries are everything in therapy. Without them, trust and safety fall apart. Example. Your therapist starts sharing personal details about their divorce, or they message you outside of session hours asking for advice. Then one day they ask if you want to grab coffee after your session. You feel uneasy and unsure about what's happening. Sign number 4. They push their own agenda. Your therapy session should focus on your needs, not your therapist's opinions or personal beliefs. Example, you tell your therapist you want to work on overcoming social anxiety, but they keep insisting that you need to try meditation, even though you've made it clear it doesn't work for you. Sign number 5. They don't respect your time. Your time is valuable, and a therapist who doesn't respect it is sending the wrong message. Example, your session is scheduled for 3 p.m., but your therapist consistently shows up 10 to 15 minutes late. Then they end the session on time, giving you less than what you're paying for. Sign number 6. They don't seem competent. Your therapist should be confident and skilled enough to address your concerns. Therapy is no place for guesswork. Example, you share that you're struggling with childhood trauma, and your therapist says, "I've never dealt with this before. Let's figure it out together." They fumble through notes, and you feel like they're unprepared. Sign number 7. They don't provide structure. Therapy without structure can feel like running on a treadmill. You're moving, but going nowhere. Example, week after week, your sessions feel like a venting session with no clear goals or tools for improvement. When you ask about progress, your therapist says, "We'll figure it out eventually." Sign number 8. They make you feel worse. Therapy should be challenging but ultimately uplifting. It should never leave you feeling defeated. Example, you open up about your insecurities and your therapist responds, "Well, maybe if you worked harder, you wouldn't feel this way." Instead of feeling understood, you leave the session feeling worse. Sign number 9. They don't take feedback. A good therapist is open to feedback and willing to adjust their approach to meet your needs. Example, you tell your therapist that you feel stuck and want to try a different method, but they respond, "I know what works. Maybe you're not following through properly." Sign number 10. They break confidentiality. Confidentiality is the foundation of therapy. Without it, trust is broken. Example, you run into your therapist at a cafe and they say in front of others, "Oh, it's good to see one of my clients outside of the office." You're mortified as your privacy is exposed. Sign number 11. They minimize your problems. Your therapist should validate your feelings, not brush them off as unimportant. Example: you tell your therapist you're feeling overwhelmed, and they respond, "Oh, everyone feels that way sometimes. It's nothing to worry about." You leave feeling like your concerns don't matter, which makes opening up even harder. Sign number 12. They blame you for everything. Therapy is about understanding and growth, not assigning blame. Example: you open up about a conflict with your partner, and your therapist immediately says, "Well, it's probably because you're not communicating properly." Instead of exploring the situation, they make you feel like the problem. Sign number 13. They don't seem empathetic. Empathy is essential in therapy. Without it, the therapeutic relationship can't thrive. Example: you share a painful memory, and your therapist responds with a blank stare saying, "Well, that's unfortunate." You feel unheard and unsupported, which erodes trust. Sign number 14. They interrupt you constantly. A therapist should listen fully before responding. Constant interruptions disrupt the flow of communication. Example: every time you try to share your thoughts, your therapist interrupts with, "Let me stop you right there," making it impossible to fully express yourself and leaving you feeling frustrated. Sign number 15. They overstep financial boundaries. Therapy is an investment, but it should never feel like a sales pitch. Example: your therapist keeps pressuring you to buy their self-published book or sign up for expensive workshops they're hosting. It feels more like a money grab than genuine care for your well-being. Sign number 16. They lack cultural sensitivity. A culturally sensitive therapist respects your background and experiences. For example, you bring up challenges tied to your cultural identity, and your therapist dismisses it, saying, "That's not really relevant here." You feel misunderstood and alienated in what should be a safe space. Sign number 17. They use harmful techniques. Therapy methods should always be safe and evidence-based. For example, your therapist insists on using a controversial method without fully explaining the risks, leaving you feeling worse after each session. You start to question if it's even helping you. Sign number 18. They make everything about them. Your therapy sessions should focus on you, not your therapist. For example, every time you share a struggle, your therapist responds with, "Oh, I've been through something similar," and spends the next 20 minutes talking about themselves. You leave feeling like your concerns weren't addressed. Sign number 19. They ignore your goals. A good therapist works with you to achieve your goals, not steer the sessions toward their own agenda. For example, you express a desire to focus on managing your anxiety, but your therapist keeps bringing up your diet and fitness routine, even though it's not what you're there to address. Sign number 20. They create dependency. A great therapist empowers you to grow independently, not rely on them indefinitely. For instance, your therapist tells you, "You'll never fully heal without me," making you feel like you can't make progress unless you stay in therapy forever. It starts to feel manipulative rather than supportive. Sign number 21. They don't respect or encourage spirituality. We are more than just physical beings living in a three-dimensional world. We are spiritual beings too. A good therapist should acknowledge this higher dimension of existence and respect the role of spirituality in personal growth and healing. Whether it's through prayer for those who believe in God or meditation for those who don't, spirituality can be a vital part of the therapeutic journey. For example, imagine this. You express a deep connection to your faith, and your therapist brushes it off, saying, "Let's not get into that. It's not relevant here." Or perhaps you share a desire to explore meditation or other spiritual practices, and your therapist dismisses it as unnecessary. This lack of understanding or support leaves you feeling disconnected and invalidated. A compassionate therapist should honor your spiritual beliefs and encourage practices that align with your values. For God believers, this might include integrating prayer or faith-based perspectives. For those who don't believe in God, it could mean exploring mindfulness or meditation as tools for connecting with a higher sense of purpose or peace. Spirituality, in any form, can provide a profound source of strength, healing, and growth. And a therapist who fails to acknowledge this dimension is missing a crucial aspect of what it means to be human. There you have it. 21 unmistakable red flags to watch out for in a therapist. If you recognize any of these, don't hesitate to find a new therapist who respects and supports your journey, including your spiritual well-being. Therapy is about you, and you deserve a guide who understands all aspects of what makes you whole, mind, body, and spirit. If this video resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more insights. Let's continue the conversation in the comments below. What's your experience with therapy, spirituality, or personal growth? Let's learn from each other. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel named Software Classes, because your mind is a software and it can be programmed.